You're watching Less Than Epic's coverage of the Overwatch League. Enjoy the show.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Weekly Picks. As usual, this is your pal Nova Punk X, and we will be breaking down the picks from last week of the regular season. A couple things to note for the playoffs before we get started. For the stage playoffs, the only team that is for sure is the Valiant. Gladiators, New York, Dallas, Philly, Houston, and San Francisco can all still get in, with San Francisco being a pretty large outlier at the moment, especially since they face the number one team this stage this week. Looking at the season playoffs is a much different picture, as we have 8 teams still trying to get into one of those 6 playoff spots. We know for sure New York and Valiant are going to take the number 1 and number 2 seeds respectively, and Boston is locked into the playoffs. However, we're not quite sure at their seeding, and they could go as low as number 6 or as high as number 3. London, the Gladiators, Philadelphia, Houston, and Seoul, amazingly, are all trying to secure a playoff spot. And if London, Gladiators, and Philly even win one game, all 3 of those teams will be in. London gets to play Florida, and Gladiators gets to play Shanghai this week, so we can almost figure those 2 teams will be in. Philadelphia, however, faces Houston, and if Houston wants to have a chance, they need to win it. Anyway, we've been talking about the playoffs long enough. Looking at our standings for this little stage, our little competition, it looks like you guys have actually pulled out to a comfy 3-game lead. And with the picks that I have in front of me right now, only Radded has a chance of tying you. If you guys can get a W in one of your clashes with Radded, you will be taking home the crown. First up this week, we have the Gladiators versus Shanghai, and as you would expect, we all picked the Gladiators. Poor Shanghai, so close to beating Florida last week for that first win, and probably the only chance at a win this season. But now they face 2 tough teams this week. Looks like the first season of Overwatch League is actually going to finish with a winless team. Next up, we have the Valiant taking on San Francisco Shock, and for the first time since I've started doing this, we have a tie vote from the Army. I spoke to Kinky and we decided that we would use the 3 LTE members as the tiebreakers, so whichever team won is what I gave you all. And with that, you all chose Valiant. Valiant is clearly the better team here. They might be able to pull off that perfect stage. God, I hope not. But this would be the only chance to ruin it, I think. Let's go, San Francisco. You can do it. Probably not. And to close out Wednesday, we will have Seoul taking on Dallas. And for the first time, a different pick this week. Radded has decided to pick Dallas for some fucked up reason, and the rest of us pick Seoul. I can see why he might do that, as Seoul really isn't playing well, but Dallas, well, they've been getting beat up pretty bad too. This will possibly be a close game, but I think I have to give Seoul the edge here. I don't know why. And moving on to Thursday, we will have Philly taking on Houston, and we have Radded picking Houston with everyone else on Philly. Well, almost everyone. You guys were split again, but since it was 2-1 in favor of Philly, we'll let that person win. Looking at this game, I feel like Philly has the edge here, both today and in the past. Houston has shined here and there, but continues to always slip back into nothing. The only edge I'll give Houston here is that it's win or go home for them, as far as the season playoffs are concerned. Up next, we have a tough one. Florida taking on London, and we all picked London. This shouldn't actually be a tough one, as I foresee London taking a win here to try and move up to playoff seeding, while Florida is, well, just trying to play spoiler. Florida really needs to look to next season. And what could be the match of the week, that is if Boston shows up, is New York taking on Boston. Here's the thing, if Boston can win this game, they will have an easy path to the number 3 seed, which means they won't have to face New York again until potentially the final match of the playoffs. If they lose, many things could happen, even ending up at the number 6 seed and playing New York again to start the playoffs. Yes, I picked New York to win here, but I'm secretly always pulling for Boston. And New York earn back-to-back matches, yes, on separate days, which means we have Houston taking on New York here. This should be a cakewalk unless New York decides to rest, but even then, Houston just really isn't that good. Jake on Brigette is about the best thing they have, and I don't think that's quite enough to carry them through this match. Our middle match will see the Gladiators and Seoul, and this one, we had no choice but to all pick the Gladiators. At this point, with Gladiators hitting number 3 in our power rankings and Seoul, well, basically out of the playoffs, I think this will be a nice quick 4-0 sweep. Seoul looked horrible last week versus Boston, and right now I don't know if Boston can even compete with the Gladiators. And the last Friday match, we will see Dallas taking on the Valiant. This match again won't be close. Actually, Friday looks like a horrible day of Overwatch League. Anyway, Valiant is the number 1 team this stage and the number 2 team for the entire season, facing a team that is constantly swapping players and never getting good for more than maybe a week or two. This won't be close. And wrapping up the first season of Overwatch League, and hopefully giving us some better matches, we have Philly taking on London. And for once, we have a different pick, this time by the Army, who took London. I think you guys are batshit crazy for that pick, but we shall see. Does London have the talent to beat Philly? Oh, for sure. Are they capable at this moment in time? I just don't see it. For some reason that I'm not quite aware of, London is having a hard time in the last few stages. I wouldn't bet on a sweep here, but I think Philly definitely gets the W. And up next is the start of a 2-game set of meh games as we have Shanghai taking on the San Francisco Shock. Poor Shanghai is still winless, and with a game against San Francisco, who has shown us a new side of their team this stage, it looks like they're probably going to stay that way. I suspect Shanghai will revamp their team this offseason, and we will see a Chinese-only roster once again. And the last game of the regular season of the Overwatch League is another snoozer, as Boston takes on Florida. I'm honestly glad Boston gets an easy game here to finish the stage and the season, which should help them earn a higher seed. On the other hand, Florida really needs to look at their team and figure out where it's lacking, and try to improve this offseason. Pick up some new players, move staff around, do something. Well, thanks guys again for checking out our weekly picks video. This will end the series, at least until the playoffs come around again, which is about a month away, where I will drop one more so we can try to pick who's going to win the season playoffs. However, Less Than Epic is definitely far from over. We will be kicking up a streaming schedule. We will be doing videos on all sorts of content. Everything from Classic WoW to Neverwinter Nights Online to The Elder Scrolls Online to Overwatch and all kinds of random shit. Anyway, make sure to keep checking out our channel, hit the subscribe button, throw some comments below in any of our videos and let us know what you like and what you don't like. The thumbs up is always a good way to do that also. Anyway guys, thanks again. Hope you enjoyed the first season of Overwatch League, and hopefully the playoffs are quite an amazing little feat. Catch you all later, and get good, scrubs.
If you like our coverage of the Overwatch League, let us know by liking and subscribing. And if you didn't, let us know why in the comments below. Maybe we can make it better. Thanks for watching, everyone.